Hello, I'm Tunedon. I want to talk about the EU. So Britain left, or is leaving the EU. I think this is fascinating, totally fascinating. The first country ever to leave the EU. And the EU goes, what? You're leaving? Why? And people in Europe, they say, what? They're leaving. Why? And by the way, what is the EU? The interest in EU has increased a lot since this happened. It's a good thing. I want to say first of all that there are good things with the EU. The free trade, the low phone costs, easy to travel, things like that. Very good things. Right. That's the point that I want to make. But there is a problem with the EU. There are 49,000 people working there. And the majority of them are not elected. I mean, there's only 750 of them that are actually elected. And the rest are officials. They are people working there. It's like a company. They are recruited. The EU recruits them. Come to work for us. Right? And then they are not really accountable. Why? Because the only thing that can happen is that they break the law, do some fraud, or so they will have to resign, or the police will come and get them. Otherwise, they can be fired by EU, of course. But we cannot vote them off, see? That's the thing. So what about the parliament, where the elected people sit? Maybe this is boring to you, but I think it's totally wonderful. The parliament, they cannot suggest laws. What? No, they can't. They can only disapprove or approve on the suggestions that come from the officials. So the officials, they talk, right? And they come up with a new law, suggestion for a new law. And then the parliament will have a vote, but not always. That's another interesting thing. This is funny. Not always, Sometimes the EU Commission, where most of these officials work, they just say, well, this is good, we just do it this way, we don't need to have the approval of the parliament. Right. So we have lots of power and nobody's accountable. That's the problem. In Sweden we have a system where we can hold our politicians accountable, whether they like it or not. I think politicians, when they start work and they start to talk with other politicians, they have in the back of their mind some thought that maybe people shouldn't really pay attention to what I'm doing. They just, take my word for it. Because after all, I was elected, so I know what I'm talking about. I'm a bright guy. So I just do it my way. And, but in Sweden, he can be voted off. Yeah. And in the EU, they can't. All right.